Today is Sunday, September 17th, 2023. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our JABBIC Part 1 show for Survivor 45.
As we continue in our 36th season. 36th season of, not years, yeah. 36th season of podcasting. Well, that's good. Just get a goof in there off the bat. You want to tell everybody what JABBIC stands for? Judge a book by its cover. It's part of our preseason ritual. But before we get too far along, let's do a quick summer recap, because we had a lot of viewing that we did. We started with...
if you say so.
We finished off the U.S. version of Alone, which was a little bit of a starve fest, but that was okay. And then we watched the Australian version of Alone, which that was interesting. And then we went back to, we did 3 seasons of Survivor South Africa. We'd never seen any of those. And so that was different to see how the culture impacted the game, I guess, was one of the big standout differences there.
But I don't know if any of it compared to the Australian.
Well, that's
Survivor.
where I was going to come back around full circle. So we did Blood versus Water, which Blood versus Water seasons of Survivor just hit different. And so that was okay.
Blood versus Water. I kind of vaguely remember that.
Sandra and Nina were
I remember
in it.
them.
Yeah.
But they did,
So it was okay, but then there was Heroes versus Villains, and that was like...
It's just about spoiled us forever.
Yeah, it went to a whole new level. I'm really glad that we watched that early on. Like it was good to come off the budget Survivor and hit some of the Australian Survivors, because there's so much more to them. There's more everything.
Oh yeah, quadruple content.
But to finish with the Heroes versus Villains, there's like their season 10. There's probably the best moment ever in the history of Survivor in that season.
King George.
I never used to think I would say something like that, but I believe that now. And it hit and lasted with me for quite a while. Anyway, then we had a break. We watched some of the others and all that. That was quite the experience. I'm really glad that we doubled back and got to watch some of that stuff, and we didn't know a whole lot about the seasons. We purposely tried to avoid them.
I always try to avoid. I usually get spoiled, but I can,
compartmentalize.
I won't remember it.
Yeah.
So, I don't remember most of what we watched except the season we really, really loved.
Yeah.
And I do remember that.
I was just surprised time and time again through that season. And it's such a big blockbuster season. There's so much of it, too.
So, we won't say a lot about it for those who haven't watched it, because I don't like
Highly recommend it.
Highly recommend that, yes.
Yeah, and we crazy binged it too.
We crazy binged it, absolutely did.
We were so hooked. It's like we put
one more.
As much as we could, we put life on hold to consume that as fast as we could.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
we did, and there was quite a bit of it. So
that
was early in the summer, wasn't it?
Yeah, double the episodes, and there's so much more of it. Double the days. It's just there's more. But okay, so that brings us back to where we are here. We're on the runway, and that's what the JABBIC show is. We're getting ready to take off for season 45. And we do this process, the JABBIC show, so we can start to be familiar with the cast, so that hopefully we're not completely at a loss for who's who at the very beginning, because it can be a lot.
And we really don't know anything about anyone. We're not trying to say this is who the people are. These are what we think their performance in
first impressions and our predictions of how we think they'll do, which is all in an effort to just make us more familiar with them.
Yeah,
so we spend time
to know them a little bit.
Spend time thinking about them, and of course, time and time again, our pregame predictions are phenomenally bad. They're just wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
because you don't have a whole lot to go on. So
exactly.
We looked at whatever they gave for their bios, read through that, and there was a handful of videos on EW, which you get to see them talking a little. There was...
And that is helpful. Well, sometimes it changes my entire opinion about somebody, though.
Which is what it's like always when you're in the beginning of meeting someone.
Yeah, but then, when you see them in the show, they weren't like that at all. Or you see them in another video, it's like, oh, but they're not like that.
Or you just see them from a different angle, and you're like, who's that?
Yeah.
Well, and CBS upped the difficulty.
They do it deliberately.
They've upped the difficulty level of some of that, because in these little short promo commercials they've been throwing out, they got dream teamers not just posing in the pictures, what I've always had, but they got dream teamers in challenges.
Commercials where they're showing the challenge.
The segment of the promo commercials, because we were looking at this one lady.
Who's that? Who's that? It's like, that's not anyone on this season.
That was eventually our conclusion.
That's got to be a dream teamer.
Yeah.
So
we've been looking at promo commercials, we've been reading the bios, all the interviews up that Mike Bloom does for Parade Magazine.
That was a lot to go through, and I'm not sure, because
it's a lot,
I had to do it so quickly to try to prepare, and so I don't feel like I have as much of a handle on identifying the people, and because a lot of the shots of them in the show, the promo shots and that kind of stuff, are so different from their just regular still shots that I don't. It's like, who is that now? I can look at the roster and tell you who everybody is, but then when you see them in the show, it's like, who is that? So I get all confused. So I don't have all that down good as I usually do, I think. But
so
we'll get there.
When you see in the promos, they're lined up left to right with the Blue Tribe, that's either Bello or a Balo, depending on how you pronounce that E.
I'm going with
Blue.
No, well, that too, mostly, but Bella.
And then Lulu.
Lulu.
And the tribe names are based on birds in Fiji this season. So these are all different birds. I think Bello is that the stork?
You looked all that up. I didn't.
Lulu is an owl, like a barn owl.
Barn owl, you said.
I can't remember what the third bird is.
What Reba is?
Yeah, or I may have Reba and Bello mixed up. Anyway, so Paul's got them lined up in the roster the same way that they line up for challenges, left to right. So there's blue, yellow, red, Bello, Lulu.
And in alphabetical order
Reba.
By tribe name.
Reba, right, by their first name.
Tribe name.
Okay, that too. And by their first name, left to right.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through the cast, tribe by tribe, castaway by castaway, and give our thoughts and analysis, and Joanne's going to add in some of the details. You get some details from the bios too, right? Yeah,
I always try to include that because it's a lot of content, and so we do not include it all. If you want that, you'll have to go read it. But I do try to include some things just to help us get to know them a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think I could tell you the names of everyone without looking at this point. I don't have it down yet, but
I could.
We're getting there. All right, so first up, Bello, the Blue Tribe. And first up on the Blue Tribe is Brandon, or Brando.
Brando. We are not saying Brandon for him because there's another Brandon. He is only Brando to me. So please use Brando.
Okay. Right. Like how good you were last season with Matt and Matthew. Yes. I'll strive to be
I was great. I knew who I was talking about.
First up's Brando.
Otherwise, we will not be able, until one of them gets voted off, we won't be able to know who you're talking about if you don't just, I'm sure that's why they distinguished Brando and Brandon.
Yeah, it should work a little better than Matt versus Matthew.
Yes.
Okay, so he's 23, maybe 22 when he was out there, originally from California, and now he's in Seattle. He's a software developer. He's a coder.
Yep, he says he's curious, clever, and motivated, and he's been a fan since he was 10 years old. He identifies most with David Wright, who helped inspire him to push his limits around losing weight when he was 16, when watching David face his fears.
And David in Millennials versus Gen X, yeah.
Yeah, he'd like his alliance partner, somebody who could pick up the pieces of things that he misses.
Yeah, he said he was looking for someone who was big in the physical realm and someone who's had really good social skills, which are things that he's therefore saying aren't his strengths.
Right. His hobbies are running. He likes to make a lot of puns. Loves baseball.
So he's got that in common with J. Maya. I wonder if they'll have a pun off at some time.
Well,
could be.
We'll see.
Could be.
They could if they're around. Let's see what else. He is one of the ones who made and practiced the 3D puzzles.
Mm-hmm. He expects that to be his role. He's going to be a puzzle guy.
And he thinks he can win because he's very quick thinking and has acute attention to detail. He said, nothing gets by me.
We'll see.
And he seems to like Bruce. He said Bruce reminded him of his dad and that he might like to work with him if he's on his tribe. This is all before they know where they are. And my conclusion was I like him. I think he could do well, and I think he could play under the radar for a while. So then he's going to get labeled. If he starts doing puzzles and doing them well, then he's going to get labeled as the puzzle guy, and he'll have more of a target. But I think he'll be under the radar for a little while.
Well, if he's good at doing puzzles, it won't be a target. It'll be his saving grace.
Well, for a while. Then it'll be a target. So,
I liked how he picked up there was a lot of, I don't know if there's a lot. There's definitely pregame content in the interviews and in the Mike Bloom interviews. He's asking them to suss out who they're seeing, who might be someone they can work with or who might not be. And then there was the hot takes and the other video on EW, on Entertainment Weekly, asking them, what they thought about the different castaways. And he picked up on real quick that Caleb was already everybody's number one. And so that was a warning sign to him.
Observed him because that's how he felt. Mm-hmm. The way Caleb smiled at him, he felt like, oh, yeah, he likes me.
And then he realized.
And then he's like, wait a minute. He's doing that with everyone.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks he's their number.
Yeah. So
okay, I got to pay attention to that.
Yeah, and then he also said, I don't know who it was, but because someone else comments on it, there was someone who wouldn't take the escalator.
Yeah, and we don't know who that is, but they never ever, and as they were traveling throughout airports and whatever, they would never go up the escalator. So
yeah, that
one of the ladies, I don't.
Yeah, made him untrustworthy. We'll hear that again.
Why does that make her untrustworthy?
So I was really on board with Brando. I thought, okay, this could work. He could be an excellent player. And then he talked about how Edge of Extinction was such a fun twist. And I thought, I just completely don't trust your judgment at all. Actually, he looks like he could be the little brother of this technology YouTuber that I follow named whose channel is Dave2D. He looks a lot like this guy's channel that I watch a lot for technology content.
Okay.
But yeah, I got a good vibe off him. I think he's going to make the merge.
Yeah, I have him making the merge. I think he's going to be seen as the least threatening male on that tribe. Mm-hmm. So,
but he could fill that critical puzzle role if they emphasize puzzles. I want to talk about that a little bit as we go along.
Yes, if they do. We don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, are we done with Brando?
On to the drunk uncle.
You'll have to explain that one. He's talking about Bruce.
Bruce is
back. He's 47, an insurance agent from Rhode Island. He says he's funny, competitive, and energetic. He loves getting another chance to play, and he will not play like any other single player or style, but he will be able to assess the situation and adapt to it. He doesn't want to be seen as the dad. That's what Stacy's talking about. He wants to be the drunk uncle that shows up at the reunions, and all the kids are like, "Oh, there he is. He's so fun.
Yeah.
I want to hang out with drunk uncle," and not a dad figure.
A lot of people are already giving him
The dad. The younger guys have already put him. Oh, he's kind of like, he reminds me of my dad.
My stepdad.
Yeah, that'll be nice to have out here, a dad. And it's exactly what he doesn't want.
So, the good thing with him is he wants, his goal, he says, is to adapt. And that's being pliable like that, having that as a focus. Let me figure out what's going on and I'll adjust. And he's focused on playing without fear.
I don't feel like
good.
I know enough about him to know whether he's capable of that or not. It sounds great.
It was interesting to hear everybody's reaction. They talk about him like he's a returning player.
Yeah.
When he did the week or so pregame, but he was minutes into the actual game when he cracked his head, and then he wasn't.
He doesn't remember anything else.
Yeah, he essentially wasn't in it. So
he never really played because he hit his head so soon, and he was only there for like 12 hours, he said.
Concussed him.
And and he had a concussion. He said, I don't remember it. So he hasn't really played.
Some of them are excited, like, oh, yeah, Bruce is back. I can tell he's a returnee. And they're talking about him like he's...
Well, he's familiar with the process that they're going through now. He's already been through that, but he hasn't played. So, and I really don't. I'm excited to see what kind of game will he play. I have no idea because he didn't play.
Yeah, it could get him in trouble to fight the dad thing.
Yeah,
and hopefully he'll adapt, like he's saying, if that's what he needs to do.
Yeah, well, that'll be our first test. Can you adapt to that?
This tribe, I think, skews a little older. So Brando kind of stands out at 23. The next oldest is 26, and then the others are in their 30s, with Bruce being 47. So the other tribes don't skew quite that old, I don't think.
Yeah, Katura's the next oldest, and she's 35. But and then a couple basically 30-year-olds. But Bruce is by far the oldest.
He said, but he looks young. He looks like he's got a lot of energy.
And he looks like he's in good shape. But we don't really know that.
We don't either. Yeah. He looked that way last season until he cracked his head.
I think I do judge him a little bit just because he did crack his head, and I understand I shouldn't. Do that, but I find myself doing it. Well, if you don't crack your head open again,
He said in the pregame content, he said he was really tracking the overly smiley guy, and he was watching him close. I think he's talking about Caleb, because everybody was talking about how Caleb was giving the smiles. But he said he also saw when he got aggravated about something, and he flipped out a little. So that smiley guy thing is a mask. It's a cover, and Bruce is already hip to what's going on.
Well, I said I thought he'd make the merge because I think he can be a challenge asset, but then we don't really know that either.
For me, the big question mark with him is the whole eating thing, how he's going to manage that, because he said he tried to go without eating as part of the practice, the training.
And he couldn't.
He really couldn't. He struggles with not eating regularly.
Well, then he won't do well, so...
Yeah, it could wreck his game if he can't find a way to manage that.
It could.
We've seen big physical players, and he's a physical element for that blue tribe for sure, at least comparatively. We've seen him manage it no problem, but we've seen others where it breaks them. So I don't know how that'll play out. I got him making the merge right now.
Yeah, I do too, just because he does look like he's physically fit and hopefully can do, but you don't know. He is 47. He's way older than the others, and so he may not have the stamina that they have.
Of course, age doesn't necessarily mean anything about stamina. We're going to talk about that when we get to the next tribe, I think. Okay, next up, is there anything else you want to say about Bruce?
I wanted to say, who's going to fish on that tribe? Can you see Brando fishing? Can you see Jake fishing, who lives with Grandma?
Kendra might, because she's a backpacker or hiker kind of. She's got that hippie vibe going, so maybe. Although she could
hippie vibe.
Yeah, Kendra. For sure.
She's the bartender.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's don't jump ahead and confuse everyone.
Bruce might. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope so.
They're going to expect him to. Right? That's
hope
a stereotype.
Because I think if he wants to have the food, he's going to have to be the provider.
When you're expecting somebody's the dad, then that means they're the provider.
That means you should be providing for us, Daddy.
Yeah.
Okay. So we both say merge for him.
Yep.
Next up, we have Jake. He's 27 from Boston. He's an attorney and lives at home with Grandma still.
That's his big angle. So that was what he used.
If he wins, he might move out of Grandma's.
Yeah, that was a big part of his casting banter that he continues to repeat.
Yep, that's why we bring it up.
Yep.
But,
so attorney, also a bartender, also a theater teacher for kids.
Yes.
Because he's done all those at the same time.
Yes.
From the way it's described.
Yes, he says he's boisterous, wily, and persistent. He lost 80 pounds and got in shape over the last 2 years just because he was planning to play Survivor and apply. So he thought, I got to get physically where I could play. So good on him.
Yeah, good job, Jake.
He does have a nice laugh, and he says he plans to schmooze people. And he thinks he can win because he's a people person with the intelligence to use his social skills to navigate through the game. He can lie and wants to work with people who can't lie, so that he can lie and they won't know he's lying.
He wants to have an advantage?
Yeah.
Wow, that's clever.
Yeah. So anyway, he's telling us up front how he plans to play. So anything else you want descriptively?
Well, one specific lie that he's planning on telling is he's going to say that he's a public defender, when in reality he's an assistant district attorney in juvenile court. So he's going to flip it so that he's a defender, that when he's talking about there. And he says that, yes, he's got the loud Boston guy thing going, but in reality he is not a bruiser. He believes that someone who cusses is being honest with you. And he noted that he was absolutely not getting good vibes from Kendra pre-game. She was no smiles. Which is interesting because they're on a tribe together. So we'll see if that sort that out. And they're both bartenders, so they have that in common.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing, is they are making judgments on people non-verbally. They haven't talked to anyone. Now they watch them, and they sometimes are able to listen to them talk to some of the staff or something like that, so they get some feel.
The producers, the handlers,
But they don't have anything else to do but watch the other people and try to, they all talk about, I vibe well with this person. And I thought, maybe not when you really get to.
Yeah.
And some of them are already changing their story. I didn't like this person. Then I had this interaction and I might like that person.
So merge for Jake.
I put merge too. He seems to be focusing a lot on how he will perform in the final tribal using his lawyer and theater skills. He said he's open to working with Bruce, which I guess is good now because he's on his tribe. And he kind of liked Caleb too. And he thinks that he could be fun and likable. But I don't know. I think people are going to see through him before the final tribal. So I don't see him.
There's several people that talked about being leery of the loud ones, the look at me, I'm talking so loud ones, and I gotta think they're talking about him. So he's not making good impressions with some people before the game begins, for sure.
Well, I put merge, but I could see him go before too if he gets caught in the lies, that they could just vote him out. So.
Anything else you want to say about Jake?
Nope.
moving on to Katura.
35 years old. She was born in St. Louis, living in Brooklyn. She's a civil rights attorney. Says she's very calculating, determined, unexpected. I'm not sure what that means, but okay. She wants people to see her as a sweet, small-town girl instead of the civil rights attorney. She feels...
That seems like a hard ask.
Yeah.
Because her...
Well, is she even going to tell them?
She's constantly in the struggle.
Yeah. Maybe she's just not going to tell it. I don't know. Feels like her life experiences have prepared her to play in this game. She made a comment. She said she's almost colorblind, and I'm assuming she means she has color deficiency like you do.
Yeah, which is really rare for women to have that.
Yeah, and I thought, wait a minute, that could cause her a lot of problems doing puzzles and even the challenges. How do you know what color the ball is that you're going for if somebody crosses over into the... you struggle with that a lot.
This is true.
And so I think that could affect her in the challenges considerably.
Yeah, I don't know what almost colorblind means.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming I took it to mean like you do. You're not colorblind. You can see blues and things like that, but you can't. Purple is blue to you.
Things with shades of red, shades of green.
Yeah, orange is... orange peach colors are gray to you.
Sometimes greens are white. It just depends on where they are in the
He'll say, that guy out there in the blue shirt. There is no blue shirt. But it took me a long time to really, get what you were saying around colors. Because
you pretend like you do.
I have learned. I do. I just forget
better.
Sometimes. Hey, the old mind isn't what it used to be. And I forget that you can't see the way I see. So.
The thing that stood out to me was her talking about how the producers were quizzing her for her reactions and thoughts on the cast.
A lot.
Yeah.
And she was saying she didn't want to describe anyone of their... No, describe them.
Yeah, how do you feel about this person? I thought, this is how the pregame really kicks into overdrive, because the handlers, the production assistants, and the producers are interacting with the castaways before the game begins, getting their thoughts about each other, and they're probably collecting that information, summarizing and sharing it with each other, so they're trying to track things or even potentially prompt certain interactions.
Well, here's another thing I noticed, that when you listen to her talking and she sounds so sweet and she's like, oh no, and I don't want to describe or say anything about anyone. And then she said, well, sometimes I'm cranky or a little spoiled. She said, I'm a little bit clumsy and trip a lot, but it doesn't matter how people perceive me, as this is a journey for me.
Yeah, it sounded to me that she was here for the escape. Heavy subject matter. Her day-to-day life
needs a break. Yeah,
is a burden.
Needs a vacation.
She's yoked with burdens, it sounds like, from the work that she does, and just how she moves through life and all. She sounds like she has a rough life, and she looked tired to me.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I don't know how that's going to pan out for her out here.
Well,
and she had completely unrealistic alliance expectations. Plus, she's very new to Survivor.
Yeah.
I couldn't help but feel, because there's a bunch of people in this cast that I started during the pandemic. And I can believe that and totally respect you getting hooked, but at the same time,
and binging, but
felt like there was a lot of recruits who were given that as an answer, was the sense I got after I'd consumed that storyline so many times, reading their bios and stuff.
Well, my recap of her was that I feel very unsure about her, and I think she could be there more for the experience than she is for the money.
Which means when the experience isn't good, she may not want to hang around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she doesn't talk at all about how she will do in the challenges or any training that she did to prepare, and I still think the color thing can hurt her in the challenges. So I went with no merch for her.
Yeah, you're looking for 7 no merges.
Yes,
that's
you
generally
make
how
sure
it
I choose 7.
plays out for the season. Well, I tell you, that's generally
Gotta have
how it
somebody.
goes.
Yeah, 7 people have
And
to
so,
go.
an easy way to sort of rough that in is to go into each tribe, pick 2, and then go back to one tribe to get a third, unless something causes you to think differently. And so, out of that tribe, I could see her not making it for sure.
And we didn't talk about it until after we'd made.
We
and
do
our
research independently. We chat while we're doing it because it happens over the course of days.
Yeah.
Many hours, and then so sometimes we come up with the same ideas, sometimes we come up with something different. Anything else about Keturah?
Nope.
Moving on to Kelly.
She's 30 years old. She was from Connecticut, living in New York City, and she is a critical care nurse. All right, yay, Kelly.
Yes.
Good job. We needed you. Thank you.
Yep.
She says she's scrappy, deliberate, and intuitive. She started watching during COVID, and because she said, the nurses, they were treated like, you've got something, stay away from me kind of thing. And
highly contagious.
Yes, yes.
So she was on the front lines in New York City for COVID, for the pandemic.
And she said nurses are tough, but we're also empathetic, comforting, and vulnerable, which will help in the game. She wants to play with people she trusts and understands their motives and can have some fun together. A lot of the people on here said, I want to have fun. I don't want to just be out there. I want to have some fun, too. So I think they are getting away from their intense lives and they want to have fun doing it.
Another person with lots of heavy burdens and lots of misery they've managed.
And she says she loves board and video games, and she thinks she can win because she's a chameleon. She said, I can bro out with the jocks, I can nerd out with the nerds, and be besties with the girls. There's no one I can't bond with. I'm fully prepared to manipulate and blindside my way to final tribal. She is extremely competitive. She said, I think people relate to me because I make them feel heard. She knows how to make them feel heard.
Which is important when you're a nurse.
It's extremely important anyway in the game,
hear
too.
You. Yeah.
And she practiced fire making. Good on you.
She did.
I appreciate that.
Yep. Definitely got her making the merge. Probably the weak point in the profile for her is if for some reason she doesn't come across as compassionate. Yeah,
because I get kind of a cold, standoffish, a little bit feel from just what little itty bit we saw about her, and I thought, well, I'm not seeing that.
If there's an expectation of the nurturing nurse and she doesn't deliver that, then it gets held against her.
I kind of think she good. She good. She could.
Words.
And she will, but I just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So that's why I wasn't sure if I'd put her merge early on. But I do think she could have a chance to go deep if she can get in with a good alliance. But I think she's pretty smart, and I don't know that she'll be able to hide how smart she is to people, but she might be.
Yeah, that could be okay in the early game for here.
But the more I read about her and all, I definitely put merge. And
yeah, I got her merge too.
And I will keep my eye on her that she could go deep. We'll see.
I did think that she might have a little of the suck up vibe going there because she managed to drop the full tilt phrase in her bio. So going back to Probst and his full tilt boogie. So she managed to work that into her bio text. So I expect her to be dropping lines like that are there for Probst and her tribal council.
Well, that'll make Jeff happy.
Yeah. Anything else on Kelly?
No, just I think she's somebody to watch. And so I didn't put her in my final 4 because I just kind of wasn't sure, but I could see her get there.
She fits the profile of a lot of the female winners to me, it seems like, just of winners. Next up, we got Kendra. She's 31, originally from
Massachusetts.
And then she's been in Colorado.
Bartender. She's outgoing, determined, enthusiastic, and she's very loud in her video. And she says she plans to be very authentic like Carolyn.
Yeah,
I love to challenge myself and put myself in situations to grow as a person. And Survivor checks all the boxes for me as far as an adventure goes. She wants loyalty and alliance as well as someone calm to help balance her. I said, I'm afraid she's just here for an adventure, and I'm just going to say no merge.
She's a self-described woo girl and also another one of those fans of manifesting outcomes.
Of course, I did note that I said the same thing about Carolyn, so we see how that worked out.
she's, I don't know what it is, a lisp or the way her top teeth hit her bottom lip, but she sounds like Drew Barrymore when she's talking.
Oh, she did say something about talking like Drew Barrymore. Yeah, she mentioned that. I didn't notice, but
like you said, she sees herself in Carolyn, which for me is a red flag, and she self-describes as very emotional. I, too, clocked her as no merge.
Okay, she said something about she just wanted to get away from it. She's a bartender and she listens to people all the time and, makes friends with them and all this and, buddy. And she said, I didn't get away from all those people. And then she looks into the camera and goes, but if you're watching, I don't mean you. And I thought, yes, you do. You just said so, and I thought, I just don't think she will. She's a big girl, and
she's 5'10". Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if that is an element in the challenges. I also think they could afford to lose her, but we'll see.
We'll see. So I put her no merge. How about you? I didn't hear what you said.
No merge.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, so far we're in agreement. That's unusual.
Two of the same, no merges. Next up, we've got the Lulu tribe, the yellow tribe. And first person on the yellow tribe is Brandon, 26, from Sicklerville, New Jersey, and says he's a content producer, which I'm not really clear on what that is. Sounds like it's adjacent to an influencer, so maybe he
writes things. He said
marketing copy for Instagram influencers or something. I don't know.
He says he's empathetic, inquisitive, relatable, neurotic, and doesn't know what he can contribute to his tribe.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. He wants to be the person Survivor can turn him into.
He's looking for a Survivor makeover. He describes himself as highly anxious.
Well, and clumsy.
Yeah.
And he's the first person that we saw from the clips that gets called on a medical.
Right. He hurts himself on the ship in the very beginning somehow.
Then we saw in another commercial he fell on some rocks.
Yeah,
so
he's walking on
clumsy.
The beach, walking on wet rocks and falls.
Yeah, he's right. He's clumsy, but I don't know, we that may mean absolutely nothing.
Yeah, he does describe himself as a writer. Maybe that's going to help him with fashioning stories and creating some of those Probst TV moments. I think that's what he's gunning for.
Yes, he's pretty clear about that. He said he's been a fan for 15 years. He did prepare by taking swimming lessons and making fire, and he worked out, and he lost weight to play as well. He said he almost quit at the last second because of his fear of flying. He has a horrible fear of flying. And at the hotel before they were getting ready to go to the airport, he said, I can't do it. Called his mother and said, will you be disappointed in me if I don't go? And she said, no, I won't be disappointed in you, but you will. Go get on the plane. And he's flown before, but he just has so much terror of it. And so he did. Get on the plane.
He says that his family and friends help him manage his anxiety, so he's going to be looking for someone to do that for him in the game.
Yeah, no,
And he says he's here to create a confessionals highlight reel. He's fashioned himself as a super fan. He's going to be long in the game, and he will have such stunning confessionals because he spent so much time figuring out what the content of those are going to be that will make a highlight reel of him.
Well, I'm not sure why, but just in looking at the pictures. I thought I was really going to like him. I was looking forward to doing his bio and all that, but I think he's playing mostly to further his career. And he hasn't met Caleb, but he's been observing Caleb, and he already thinks Caleb has that parvati charm and charisma, and that he said, "Hey, if I can't win, my money's on him. Y'all should choose him to win." Because he said he's very charismatic. So, but I thought he could stay if he's strong, but since he's clumsy, I just put no merge for him.
I totally get that. I have him making the merge just because other people were talking about how much they liked him. He got a good positive reaction.
He did from several of the women. Oh yeah, and I like him.
Yeah, especially from a couple of the women that turns out are on his tribe.
On his tribe. So yeah,
if he makes a connection with them, and he can make a connection with Caleb, and he could be in. So that's why I'm waffling on him merge and no merge.
Okay, well,
but I got him merge right now.
I had him making the merge. And then I went back and changed it because you told me I had to choose 3 people from one tribe. So I chose him and the 2 girls that liked him.
Yeah, okay.
Not necessarily
I chose
for that
3
reason.
off of this tribe too, because I think this is the weakest tribe, but I did not choose him.
Yeah, and
He was having a big connection with Emily, who we're going to talk about next on this tribe, because she brought her Nintendo DS and was playing Pokemon, and evidently he's a big Pokemon fan.
Yeah, and it was Hannah that liked him too, I think. So those are the next 2 we'll cover. So let's move on to Emily. She's 28.
Oh, I'm going to say one more thing about Brandon.
Okay, go for it.
Like Brando, also a big fan of Edge of Extinction, which the more I learned about Brandon, the less of a fan of Brandon I was out of the gate. That's where I am right now.
Yeah, okay. I'm
now on to Emily. She's 28, originally from Texas, now in Maryland.
Yes.
Investment analyst.
Yeah, she seems very smart. She says she's direct, genuine, aggressive. She hates bugs and sand. She sunburns easily. And
easily irritated by everything, doesn't like the outdoors.
And casting compared her personality to Chaos Cast. She said, "I thought they were talking about Cassidy, but it turns out they meant Chaos Cast."
No, Kendra is Cassidy. Yeah. You're more akin to Chaos.
She said, but she could separate her short-term emotions from her long-term emotions.
Don't believe it.
So it sounds like she might have hot, angry flashes.
She said her friends describe her as off-putting.
Okay, and those are her friends. So she said she's trying to live a more interesting life. "I want to work with someone who wears their heart on their sleeve so I know what their emotions and intentions are." Well, good luck with that. She gets irritated easily about everything. She has a very strong sense of what is right and wrong. She said, "I'm out of shape." She doesn't really like the outdoors, and people find her off-putting, which is... She said, but that's why they won't see me coming.
Yeah, that's a way to spin it.
I guess so.
I think she's like Brandon. She wants that makeover. She said that she'd been in her job for 6 years. She'd been married for I forget how many years. She bought a house, and all that kind of hit her at once and shocked her a little bit. And she said, "This is it. This is where I am. This is my future."
She's
so
like,
she
I'm
wanted.
boring.
Yeah, she's looking for an adventure on Survivor.
You know what I really liked about her, and I wanted to give her a shot, but there was just so much that piled up. I liked her self-awareness. That's what I really liked.
Self-awareness or her awareness of the other people in the pregame?
I know. Her self-awareness.
Okay.
I think she described who she is and the different facets of herself, and I liked that she's upfront about that. And I really do look forward to seeing which of her personality traits show up first and most often, because that will determine whether she goes early or she goes deep. But I finally came back. I first put her merge, and again I came back and put no merge because I had to have some no merges, and I thought I want to like her. I want to see her do well and get in there and see how she can do, but I just don't think she's going to make it.
For me, the thing that I liked that drew me to her was her assessment of everyone, the pregame work she was doing. Because she made a connection with Brandon, like we're talking about. I think they were silently bonding over Pokemon. And so she said there's a nerd level connection there. And then
Brandon does the Pokemon? I thought that was Caleb.
Brandon. And Brandon was talking about it. And then,
yeah, maybe.
And then with Caleb, she had a similar reaction that we heard someone else say, which was he's smiling with everyone. So if he's already with everyone, he's with no one. So
yep, that was a good assessment.
Yeah, he's not really viable in that sense. She picked up on Hannah was reading some of the same books as her, and it turns out they both studied in China. They had both studied abroad, so she's got something in common with a couple people that she could form a strong bond with, and I liked her assessment. I like those reads of Caleb. We're going to talk about Caleb here in just a minute.
Yeah, which probably means I'm totally wrong with the people on this tribe, but anyway.
And she was picking out the people that were really annoying her, the people that she knew she didn't want to work with, the ones always trying to be first in line, always trying to be center of attention, talking loud. She also says she's a longtime fan of the show. So I saw all that as positives, that she was getting some good reads, potentially.
And I kind of like that she was at least calm and level-headed.
When I come back and look at the tribe as a whole, she seems like one of the weakest elements. And when they've got to pick somebody, I don't see her. So I went ahead and picked her for no merge.
Okay.
Anything else you want to say about Emily?
Nope. Let's move on to Hannah. She's 33. She was from Connecticut, living in Maryland. She is a therapist. She says she's enthusiastic, passionate, and authentic.
I'm not going to be surprised to find out they know each other.
Really?
Yeah, both in Maryland, both studied in China, both reading the same books.
So maybe Emily is Hannah's investment analyst or something.
Yeah, and Emily visits one of Hannah's therapists in the center that she runs.
Okay. She says she has a strong sense of self. She wants to work with an authentic but fun person.
She uses the word authentic too much.
Too much, yeah. And she said she's been sober for 13 years. She said, I can win by reading people, picking up cues. I can lay low when I need to, but I can be cutthroat, and I can do it while being as real. And I can also bring comedic relief. I was like,
yeah, so she's not an active practicing therapist.
Not anymore.
She ended up managing a group of therapists, and her aspirations are to get into theater.
Yeah, she kind of got burned out.
That was kind of a turnoff for you. You thought, oh, she's looking to use this as a...
Yep, again, just like Brandon, I think he's trying to use it to
marketing,
further his career. Yeah. Now I think she's trying to get noticed because she has a friend who is in the theater and is doing well and traveling in a play right now. And she said that's what she wants to do. She loves to sing and she wants to do musical theater. But she got burnt out being a therapist after 5 or 6 years, and so she just bought a facility, and she's got 12 therapists in there, and she just manages it, and she doesn't actually practice. And so, and then she said she binge watched Survivor during COVID, applied, and got on. Easy peasy.
Yeah, I want to be on that show. Here's my 30-second video, and I got a call the next day, and now I'm on Survivor.
And she said how she prepared was...
Screams of recruit.
Was she did harder Peloton classes to prepare physically, and she read a lot to prepare emotionally. Bicycle. She read a lot of books to prepare emotionally. And she wants an alliance she can just have fun with, she said. So I just put, I don't think she's going to do so well out there. She could. But
she was really digging on Brandon without having ever spoken to him.
Yeah.
And she's also describes herself as anxious, similar to Brandon. And her take on the people out there was very similar to Emily's. She said she wants to vote out those pick me types that stand and clear their chi in front of everyone, that are doing yoga in the airport, that are always taking the stairs instead of the escalator with the rest of the group, or going for seconds before everyone is actually eaten, and especially the ones that are loud talkers. She's not liking them either. These are the people she wants to vote out.
And I thought her first video, she was pretty loud.
Yeah.
Another video clip I watched, she wasn't as loud, but that first one was like, whoa, she's loud too. But
they all kind of have it turned up.
Yeah.
You don't get cast unless you're given that I've got everything set to 11 kind of thing.
Well, I put no merge for all three of them. And so probably they'll band together, and the three that I think will be stronger will go home. But anyway, that's what I'm going with.
Gotcha.
And you put?
I got her making the merge.
Okay. Up next, we have Caleb, which we've talked about. He's 29. He's from Vancouver, Canada.
Canada is back in the game.
Yep.
Watch out.
Yep. Software sales. He's charismatic. He describes himself that way. Others have described him that way already before even meeting him. He said he's opportunistic, and he's a golden retriever.
He's got big TV moment energy. That's my summary of Caleb.
Well, he talks about it. He wants to make stories. He's all about making stories to tell, not stories you can tell your grandkids or your kids. He wants stories he can tell the public.
I was extremely impressed with his reads of everyone. He had the most accurate reads.
He did.
He was even figuring out who was on what tribes. He wasn't correct with everything, but he really was. That was a degree of that demonstration he provided was impressive. And you combine that with that charisma, the it factor that other people are saying that he has, although some of them are saying that he's a bit much and over the top. But
we know from our own experience with certain people that we've met in person that were in the game that you don't necessarily see that on TV, but one-on-one, in person, face-to-face, it is.
I don't see it in him right now.
It's strong. No. I'm just saying people like when we met Amanda, James.
When she turned it on,
Natalie White. People like that, whoa, they have it, but you don't see it necessarily. You don't feel it on TV, but when you meet them face to face, it's like it kind of slaps you in the face like, whoa, this person.
Yeah, I can't tell if he's, I don't know what that would be like, if it would be a poser vibe or if it would be the real deal. But he definitely knows how to market himself.
He knows how to, and to do the schmooze and because like he said, every job he's ever had, he didn't know how to do it. He just sold himself and went out and learned how to do it, which good on him.
Sure.
Whatever you need to do, he's a go-getter, obviously.
Yeah, he's definitely a hustler.
But
interesting, he was extremely over the top wary of Kendra. He said he knew those West Coast hippie chicks, even pegged her as being from Colorado. And he thought that she would not be about the same kind of things he's about, and so she would recognize him. Diabolically opposed to him, so
she'll see through him. Maybe is what he's really afraid of.
That could be it. Yeah.
Okay, he says he wants to partner with someone who can control their emotions and who has relationships and can gather information from others.
Not Brandon,
to share with him.
Not Emily. Maybe Hannah, but maybe not.
I would think it would be Sean could.
Maybe, although I think they're going to clash because they're both big TV energy kind of guys.
Yeah, they could.
I don't think there's going to be enough oxygen in the room for both of them. One of them's, it's like Cody getting rid of the other salespeople.
Yeah. Oh, he's in sales.
Yeah.
He's in sales like me. I got to get rid of him.
Yeah. They're scoundrels.
Yep, yeah. So
He's not going to like Sean stealing his light.
he also said he'd been working remotely in software sales for 6 years now, and that he's lived in 28 countries, including Fiji now. And I'm like, you're not living.
There's a difference between visiting
in Fiji
and living, but
yes, you're there. You are living while you're there.
He's pushing every element of his narrative
to the extreme. It's like, okay,
it worked to get him cast. He's going to keep pushing it.
It's impressive enough that you've been to 28 countries, if you have, and but lived there. That's a whole nother thing.
I slept. I was there overnight.
Yeah,
that's living.
Not buying that. So, okay, he wants meat shields.
Not on his tribe.
Not on his tribe.
Nope,
yeah,
he's it.
Well, he will see Brandon as the meat shield.
Nope.
Maybe until Brandon falls down.
Until a few minutes into the very first challenge.
Well, we don't know what he does in the first challenge, but we're expecting him to since we've seen some clumsy.
What was
we're
funny?
Expecting more.
What was funny about Caleb's assessment of the cast was he saw himself as in the physical group, like with Austin and with Bruce, as the ones, and Jake and Sifu. He saw himself in that group, and then he turned around and he saw himself in the group with Brando, with the ones he thought were going to be doing puzzles, and Drew, and
the smart guys.
He's the smart. He's the brains and the brawn as far as he's concerned.
Yeah, he's both.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he doesn't think the other brawny guys are smart like him.
Yeah.
He thinks he's smart as one of those. He says he's athletic and he's very good with people and charismatic, and that is what will get him the win. I thought it could. It could. Absolutely.
Certainly
I can see
possible, yes.
But I kind of suspect that people are going to kind of see through that after a while.
That tribe's in trouble, though. They don't.
True.
They're.
I think so, too.
As long as they're a tribe, that they're going to end up hanging on to him. He's going to feel like a lifeline to some of them.
Well, I put that I kind of like what he's presenting, but I think he's overselling it. And I'm interested to see.
Yeah, he's going to be a character. Let's see if he delivers.
Yeah. If he can deliver it, then okay. I want to know where he's really going to go with this strategy, because all that could get him booted out early, too. You just don't know.
Yeah.
And though I could see him go to the final three and win the whole thing. I could. But
okay.
I'm thinking they'll get wise before that. But he definitely merge.
Next up, Sabaya. Yeah. Okay.
It's Sabaya.
Yeah, I think we've heard it, right?
Yes,
I just looked at it, and that was what came out.
So it's Sabaya.
She's originally from Georgia, now in North Carolina. She's a truck driver now. Previously, she was in the Marine Corps. She's 28.
She says she's resilient, vibrant, and proud. She said she would like to partner with someone she can trust, who can be a chameleon. She said, I need adaptability and a level of secrecy.
I got some Twyla vibes, that truck driver there.
Really?
Yeah. So we'll see what may come of that. She did the heptathlon in college, so I think she's going to end up being a big part of the physical element of her tribe.
Well, she had to. She grew up tough, I can tell you that, because she said she had 4 brothers and no sisters.
Mm-hmm.
I only had 2, and if you wanted to survive, you had to be tough. Because, they can be rough on you. And she had 4 older brothers. So
said she was a lifelong Survivor fan, so she's not a recent binge recruit.
Yeah, she really feels like it's been her destiny that she's...
I worried a little bit for her when she was talking about how she was here for her family and she's looking to change their lives, and that can put so much
pressure.
Pressure on you when you come at it that way. I hope she doesn't totally frame it that way.
Well, I like that she's been a fan since childhood and watched with her family, and it's what they did, run home from church to watch Survivor and that kind of thing on Wednesday nights. And
I liked her pre-gaming. She was watching J. Maya really close and watching what she was writing in her journal and gauging the reactions of what she was writing in her journal, and so she
was really watching everyone.
Yeah, and she was wanting. I guess she believed she was having a pregame connection with Austin because he was housed on her floor in the hotel at some point.
Yes.
But that obviously did not come to be yet. They're on different tribes.
I'm going to read this line that she said that I don't know, I just liked it. She said, Survivor is just me versus you, and everything that makes me me versus everything that makes you you.
Okay, that's kind of like something and nothing, but it spoke to you, huh?
And she said, I love that. That's how she's approaching it is, I love that. It's just,
these elements.
Yeah, these
Right.
elements. And so
It's a test. Yep.
and she said she plans to leave it all out there.
Okay, so she's an
And,
athlete. That's a classic athlete thing.
Yep. And
She was thinking a possible alliance with Caleb when she's doing her pregame assessments, and they're on the same tribe.
And she's studied the game. She said she's taken notes from all the greats, and she's going to play her game. But she's taken notes from things that they've done, and she said she has a lot of things in her arsenal that can make her a really big threat. And
You know what gave me pause though was her talking about, because there's a hot takes. Everybody's supposed to give their hot takes video.
Yeah.
Her hot take is how Russell's the greatest player ever. And that makes me think, you may not have gotten that this really comes down to being a social game if that's your hot take. And, that's what hot takes are. They're intended to be controversial and spark debate.
that gave me a moment's pause because I was actually liking a lot of the things she was saying in her interview. And you're right, she liked Austin and Caleb. Well, Caleb's on her tribe, so
Yeah.
I thought maybe they
Bodes
could
well.
put something
Yeah.
together. And I even thought I'm still kind of toying with her as, a possible winner for me.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay,
I look
that's a
at her and I
surprise.
think, I don't see a winner,
Me neither.
but I don't know.
That's
There's
interesting.
just something about her determination, her size, her ability, this inner strength that she has.
They're going to need her.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I think they're going to need her.
Definitely got her
physicality.
making the merge.
Yeah. And but I right now I'm still that the whole thing she said about Russell's gameplay, and she didn't seem to get the part about the social game. That's what bothered me.
Yeah, that would be cause for concern if you
then
don't really
I've,
understand the importance and significance for why he didn't win.
But I left her on my list of 2 to consider for USB so far.
Well, that's interesting.
And so we'll
That's
see.
a hot take.
I think she's
my
genuine,
perspective.
and I don't think she's full of hot air, at least. So I liked that about her. I just
Yeah.
kind of liked her. I don't know why.
She's
So we'll see.
certainly, making it through boot camp, being putting 4 years in Marines, that she can endure
Yes,
And-
absolutely.
and face a lot. So
She
it'll be
survived
interesting
4
to
brothers and then the Marines.
see how she does that when she's got no support at all.
And it is not easy being a long haul truck driver. I'm assuming she's long haul.
Right.
But that is not easy. I used to work in shipping for long haul, and that's a tough job.
It's a grind, yeah. Okay, anything else?
Nope, let's move on to Sean. He's 35. He was born in New Jersey and living in Utah. He is a school principal.
Elementary school.
Elementary school.
Although he was a vice principal in a high school prior to that.
Yep, he said he is a connection seeker. He talks about that in multiple places. He's ambitiously minded and has magnetic energy. That's the 3 words he used to describe himself.
Well, 6 words, but yeah.
Well, I meant the 3 descriptions.
Yeah.
Okay. He said he's been a fan since the very beginning, but he always wanted to play, but he never had any confidence to apply. He said, as a gay man overcoming social stigma and religious expectations because he was Mormon, that it helped him to develop mental grit, tenacity, and resilience, which is absolutely necessary for Survivor. But he didn't have it for a long time. And he wants to align with people who think differently from him so that maybe they can see situations from a different vantage point
bet.
than him. And I think that's very positive that
Sure.
he's open to
The
that.
balance.
And he says he can have a great social game. He's really he always says people are comfortable with him, and that he thinks they will be out there too. And really like that he prepared a lot with endurance training. You know, he makes fun of himself because he's very small, but he did a lot of cardio and respiratory, as well as practicing a lot of 3D puzzles.
Yep. Could be their puzzle guy.
And so I liked all that. I liked what he was selling.
He's definitely got that big TV moment energy too.
Yeah, but
he's like, it's always pushing, just boom, boom, boom coming out of him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Again, like with Caleb, how's that gonna play over time?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's part of what he's talking about when he says he's got magnetic energy and he's a connection seeker, that's a nice twist on the play on the classic I'm a people person.
Well, I think I like him more than I initially thought. I thought he might be too energetic to the point of annoying, but I think he could really play under the radar because of him being so small. And it sounds like he prepared more physically than he looks like he did. You know, and in other words, I want to be open-minded about him and his possibilities too.
Mm-hmm.
So I put Merge, and that he may go deep in the game.
I got him no merch.
Even really?
Yeah. It's just because there's not going to be enough oxygen in the room for him and Caleb. And he's so slight as a person that they're going to feel like they can afford to lose him when it comes down to where they've lost and they're in tribal council.
Well, that is a possibility.
They can let him
I
go.
do see that because he is kind of one of the smallest ones. But I just kind of thought, I'm just not sure Emily will do very well in challenges, and Hannah looks like she would, but I'm just not sure. Anyway, I would rather see him play than the people that are there to further their career, and so that might have influenced me as well.
I think it did, but I'd get that too. I could go with your assessments on that also.
Yep.
I see it either way.
Yeah,
I won't be surprised if it breaks either way. How's that? Anything else you want to say
about being wrong? So
about yellow? Yeah.
Nope. I think we've covered yellow.
All right.
The Reba tribe, which is the red tribe. First up, we have Austin, who's 26. He was living in San Jose. He's now in Chicago, and he's a grad student. He says he's ambitious, sweet, and clumsy. How come everybody's listing themselves as clumsy?
They think it's endearing.
Okay. Not so much.
It's like calling yourself the golden retriever like Caleb. Instead of clumsy, he went with golden retriever.
He seems extremely energetic, and he says he is a competitor, and he wants to prove that he has what it takes.
Well, he's the standout physical threat of the season.
Yeah.
For sure.
But he said he was very shy and quiet and self-conscious as a kid because he had really bad acne and braces, and that he even had mild Tourette's. And so he grew up being very different than he is right now.
Yeah, he said he went from introvert to extrovert.
Yeah, and he said that helped to make him a more empathetic person.
Great story.
With people. And that he ended up making it onto the All-American team at the Volleyball Junior Olympics at 15. And that really turned things around for him and helped him gain confidence. So,
you know what I liked in his prep was that he did a 4.5 day fast. He wanted to see what that was like and how it felt, and that's a commitment.
It is.
Yeah, Bruce said he managed 6 hours or 6.5 hours. Austin went 4.5 days, 60 hours.
Yeah.
And of course, he put in a lot of physical work to get his body ready.
He said, again, another person who he wants his survivor partner to be somebody who makes him laugh.
Yeah, he was big on the laughter thing, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he thinks he's fully capable of pulling off an individual immunity run. He's confident that he can. So, and maybe he can.
He was another one that felt like he had a connection with Brandon. He said he could have a Flow Bros alliance with Brandon. And he also said he was wary of Caleb because he's working everyone so hard in the pregame.
Yeah. Well,
red flag?
He's not on the tribe.
Red flag. He says he's open to finding his Amber in the game.
Yeah. Who would that be? Well, you've got cute little Dee there.
Yep. Right there in the
right
tribe.
next to it.
Yeah.
Now, Julie's a bit old for him, and
Julie could be his mom.
yeah, definitely. They're with their ages.
Yeah.
She doesn't look her age, but she's 49, I think, and he's 26. So
Yep.
yeah, that's
There's definitely some hotties he could choose from. So I got him making the merge for sure. I don't see them
definitely.
giving up on him.
Merge, and I put him in my. I think I put him in my final four. Because I think he will do well in the
You
challenges.
think we'll see another big physical threat make it all the way to the final four this season?
I don't know. I think he's going to get along well in his tribe. I think he's easygoing enough that he'll probably will get along pretty good with everybody. So
Anything else?
he's got Sifu as his meat shield.
Mm-hmm.
One of his meat shields, though I think everybody sees him as a meat shield too.
Right.
So, but at
Works
least
both ways.
Sifu's in there as well.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay, definite merge. On to D. She's 26 years old. She's from Havana, Cuba, living in Miami, and she's an entrepreneur.
Her and her partner sell travel backpacks. They saw there was a gap there and they jumped on it.
Well, they were going on a trip, couldn't find one they liked, so they got into the business.
I don't know. There's so many backpacks that just seems like a completely bogus story,
Well,
but whatever works.
Hey, they made it work. It's been successful.
Well, she says that. You don't know.
Well,
This would be a great way to get some more press for her travel backpacks.
True. Why not?
Free.
Okay, she describes herself as fiery,
Someone from
wild.
Cuba /
That's
Miami.
fiery. Yeah.
Okay.
Wildly enthusiastic, but empathetic. And she's very proud that she started that business when she was 23.
Yep. Says she thrives in the unknown. She, too, is a recent fan, a 2020 binger, pandemic fan.
She wants a loyal alliance partner who likes to have fun.
She saw Bruce as an uncle, so she was one of the ones that actually saw him in the role that he wants to be in.
Yep, though he's not on her tribe.
And she said Drew would not make eye contact pregame, which was a red flag for her.
Yeah. But I could see her and Austin get along really well together. They both want to have fun, and they're the same age, and so they could end up making a good alliance, I would think. She does CrossFit and running, so she should do well in challenges.
Might have some stamina, yeah.
And again, she wants to be a Latina winner.
Sure. She wants to represent. That's important for her. I get that.
Well, she also has a background in psychology and years of sales before she started her own backpack company.
Yeah, she was in retail, yeah.
And she did learn to make fire. Thank you. I appreciate that. She
Respect.
thinks she likes Brandon, but he's not on her tribe, and that's probably a good thing. I don't know if she would like him as well as she thought. But
I don't know. Maybe she could fix him.
Yep. Well, I like her, and I think she'll do well.
Me too.
She seems to have a good personality, and I think she'll do well in challenges. And she's my other possible winner, Final Four. whole
Definitely
thing.
merge, yep.
Definitely merge. I liked her a lot. I liked her just from the get-go. I'm not even sure why. I just do. So
Yep.
I'm going with that.
In the brief clips you get where she's interacting with her tribe mates, she seems like she's definitely making connections.
Yes, and fun,
All
and she's got a
nonverbal
good
kind of stuff,
smile,
yeah.
and she's not very big, but I
No,
think she's
it's
strong
Tiny, yeah.
in that little body. But she
Yeah.
is probably the
But
smallest.
all three of the women these are the smallest women, I think.
And even though she says she didn't like Drew, I bet you she can put that aside, and I don't think she'll let that slow her down.
Till it's time to vote him out.
Well, yeah, then who cares?
So let's talk about Drew, 23, from Michigan to Pennsylvania. He's a grad student at University of Pennsylvania, which he reminds us is an Ivy League school. Red flag.
Okay, thank you. He says he's smart, witty, and dynamic.
Also described himself as the smartest person playing Survivor.
Okay. his personal growth is in part from watching Survivor. He said, I plan to be very authentic, leaning into my quirks. In terms of gameplay, I think it will remind us of Ryan Ulrich in season 35, though he relates to Pinner as well.
You, sir, are no Pinner. I've met Pinner.
He won a trivia championship in 2019, so you know he's smart.
Play
and
it
he's
up.
telling you he's smart.
Yes, he's telling you.
Loyalty and
he goes to an Ivy League school. Let's not forget that.
Yes, he will value loyalty in an alliance. He said he's very personable and authentic. That doesn't come through to me.
No.
I'm also
Let's do red flags. You ready to do red flags?
Yeah, red flag. I'm also a good strategist and a potent speaker. Okay. My hope is these attributes counterbalance for a weak physical game.
Yes. So he just learned to swim.
Before coming out there.
He practiced some slide puzzles. Now you look at the guy.
But he didn't have much time.
You look at the guy in the context of his tribe, and you're thinking they're going to want him to be the puzzle guy, and it sounds like
you look smart. You got to do that.
He's not going to deliver. He also said that he thinks he might be viewed as slimy. Wow, how's that for a read on yourself?
Well, I think he might be right with that. He says several times. Again, he says, what he wants is a loyal ride or die and a core group that he can be in lockstep with. I don't think there is a group that he's going to be in lockstep with.
No.
He's already put himself above everyone.
He put himself figuratively as intellectually above everyone, and then he physically towers over everyone. He's at least a head taller than the next tallest guy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a literal head taller. He's got to be like 6'5", 6'6", something like that.
Though he did describe Austin as somebody he'd like to work with, and Bruce. Yeah.
And he's not keen on Jake at all. But here you go. He's a huge fan of Brad Culpepper.
Oy.
Yeah.
Alrighty, personal preferences and all that.
Yes.
Maybe he does Culpepper math, too.
No, he's much smarter than that, and he goes to an Ivy League school. I went with no merge because he's going to disappoint, and they're going to be like, you know what? Let's get rid of him. We don't need him.
Well, I put him merge. I thought, at the time at least, that he might fit into an alliance with Austin and Dee, because he talked about he wanted to have fun too. He wanted to be in an alliance that they could have fun, but I could also see him as someone who just could not make the merge. So, and if he doesn't make a strong alliance, and if he doesn't do well in challenges I'm with you, he'll be gone.
Yeah.
But I went ahead and put him as merge.
Okay. Well, this is my tribe with 3 no merges, and he's the first.
Oh, well, I already had mine. Yellow was mine. So, okay. Now we have J. Maya.
Her stage name.
Yep. Yes. She's 24 from San Francisco, and she moved to Los Angeles. She's a singer. She describes herself as, she looks familiar to me. I wonder if I've seen
she had that song go viral.
Yeah, but I don't usually look at stuff, but for some reason she looked a little familiar. Anyway, she describes herself as ambitious, optimistic, creative, and she's wanted to play since the first time she saw the show.
Which was?
Back in the pandemic,
yes.
I think. So,
she's a recruit.
Yeah, I think she probably is too. She loves the
casting
challenge.
is telling them not to say that. She's, casting's coaching them to describe themselves this way. Yep. Oh, no, I got hooked during the pandemic and I binged. And they all have that same story. So
she said that she loves challenges and that in her early game she will not run away from her loud personality and will shroud her observations of other players until the right moment. So she sounds like she's one of those pick-me's that Hannah was talking about, the loud ones that always wants to be seen. Yeah. Well, she wants to align with someone that she relates to and understands so she can read them better. And she says she likes to go with the natural ebb and flow of things, but she'll be ready to make bold moves as needed. I'm really unsure about her. I thought, is she here to boost her career?
Yeah, exactly.
Again.
Is this another Chase from Nicaragua? And then I thought, no, hold on. This is Baylor from the Missy Baylor duo in San Juan del Sur. And she's even got this cringy video with her mom that, listening to one of her songs and her mom commenting on how smart and funny the lyrics are. And, and I thought about the same of her music as I did of Baylor. So
I'm not sure how well she'll do in challenges. She may do well. She's young,
looks fit. Yeah,
she looks fit. She'll probably do okay, and she actually could make the merge. But I put
one of those
merge.
Challenge shots. She's got the stink face on, like she's there to do some business,
do some damage.
Yeah,
you betcha. Yes, she did.
She's looking for an alliance of young women. She wants to get that going. That is not her tribe. That would be an alliance of two.
Yeah. Yep. And I put no merge. What'd you put?
I got no merge for her too. Again, this is the tribe I was thinking that might get hit with the need to get rid of 3. So I could flip like we were talking about before with that being the yellow tribe too. Mm-hmm. But I definitely got no merge for her.
Okay, let's move on to Julie. She's 49. She's
the oldest castaway this season.
She lives in Brentwood, Tennessee, and is an estate attorney. She describes herself as hardworking, loyal, and smart. She's watched the show since 2015, Cambodia Second Chance. She started over at 39 after her divorce and became an estate attorney. So she's got some go-get-it, and she looks in very good physical shape.
Yeah, she's got a very youthful look about her and the way she comes across, too.
But, again, she's on a tribe with mostly 20-year-olds.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter how young she looks for her age or any of that. She's their mother's age, and she's old to them.
She literally has children the same age as some of the castaways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or very close to their age.
No, she does. One of them's 23, which we got. Yeah. Brando's 23.
Oh.
You know the most telling thing?
No, Drew's 23, not Brand. Brando's not on her tribe.
Didn't say he was.
Oh, okay. Well, Drew is 23 for sure.
Yeah.
So, okay. But so, I'm sorry, but I do think they're going to. Doesn't mean that older people can't go deep.
Absolutely can.
They might need a mother figure, too.
Do well. But the most telling thing is in the pregame, she said she was getting stone cold looks from the other ladies.
That all the ladies, they were not even.
Didn't want to connect with her.
Nothing
and
cold.
And I thought, well, what is.
Stone face.
I didn't even connect the dot until like the following day. I thought, oh, I get it. She is the older woman in the game, and historically they get targeted to go out first. I think they're not wanting to open up to her.
Waste their time to get to know her.
Yeah, or don't want to make that association, so they get tagged with her because they think, oh, she's going to go first.
And then they'll vote me out because I was with her.
Right. So
maybe, I don't know.
That's rough to hear that was working that hard against her.
I'd like to see her get a chance. I always do, but
she's my third no merge.
Yeah, I have her no merge too.
Somehow the deck is stacked massively against her.
She's my last no merge.
She's not a mom on vacation, but she does want a break from her work. She was like in between firms, just starting with a new firm, and so she took the 5 weeks to go off and do this. Yeah,
I could see her make the merge too, because I think she's probably gonna do okay in the challenges, but I don't know about her stamina and endurance for the long haul with the lack of food, and it just does affect you the older you are.
It's just harder to recover the more it grinds you down. Now, the advantage is 26 days. So you got a better shot dealing with those kinds of things because it's such a shorter season now.
Okay. Well, we both put poor Julie no merch.
Yep.
Next up, Sifu.
Which was a red flag. This was a red flag to me.
Sifu?
And it's like in martial arts, that's like calling yourself sensei or master. And if you come out that way, I'm like, oh no, this is going to be, just watch. He's going to be a black belt in ninjutsu or something. But actually he came across a little different.
Tai Chi, I think.
Yeah, it is. It's Tai Chi.
Yeah, his name is Nicholas, but he goes by Sifu, so that's how we will refer to him. He's 30 years old, lives in Illinois. He's a gym owner.
And a touring musician, so he's got potential connection with Jeremiah.
I thought right off, he's jumping out of trees and doing all this stuff. He's going to be a Matthew. He's going to get out there and hurt himself and blah, blah, blah. And I was already prepared not to like him. And then I watched his interviews, and he's soft-spoken. And I thought, he seems
like a lot of the...
just totally different than I thought he would be.
A lot of the castaways were saying he had good energy. Yeah.
I thought so, too. I thought he had sweet energy. And so, okay.
So he's not in the macho ninjutsu thing.
No, I don't think so.
Tai Chi and does push hand tournaments or demonstrations, which look to me more like dancing.
Yeah, his looks put off a different image, I think, than all of who he is.
Yeah, you get a 30-year-old with a faux hawk and you think, well, there's somebody who hadn't quite got things figured out. But okay, he's a character. That's more probably the touring musician side.
He describes himself as outgoing, loving, and empowering.
Yeah, that's positive.
He said, I want to test myself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
Well, you're in the right place, because this is the test.
He mentors underprivileged kids. He wants to make an impact on the world. He's a martial artist and does Tai Chi and has been doing it since he was 6 years old. He's a world champion in push hands, which I had to look up because I had no clue what.
Yeah, again, it looks like dancing to me. I get it. Energy, flow, you lead, I follow, I lead, you follow.
No resistance.
Yeah.
It's to me along the same lines of the Tai Chi, where you don't try to resist.
It's energy.
You go, you just basically move out of their way and let it flow. His pet peeves are liars and mean people. So I don't know. Okay, you're gonna meet liars out there, but
and mean people.
I'm sure you know that. Okay,
you got to put something in the bio. So
I just liked him so much better than he looked on the commercials. I was so surprised. And I just thought he might, like I said, take too many risks like Matthew and just get himself hurt or whatever. But I'm definitely putting him merge. If for nothing else, then he looks very strong. But I think he'll do well.
Yeah, I got him making the merge, too. Here's the red flag run. So he's another pandemic binger, watcher fan, so new to the game. Says he usually eats 5 to 6 meals a day.
Yeah, I'm just worried about that.
He just appears a bit naive to me. And he says, new era survivor is the best. So, okay, suck up. You'll get to talk to Jeff in tribal council with that line.
We'll see after a few days without food.
Yeah.
But hopefully he knows how to gather some food because, with his size, he's going to need it. Though he's not very tall. He's actually pretty short,
he's a little guy.
But, he's just strong. And
yeah, he's definitely got some muscle on him, too.
Okay, we're done with the tribes. So for no merge, I have Keturah, Kendra, Brandon, Emily, Hannah, Jay, Maya, and Julie.
And no merge for me is...
right here.
Oh, you copied them down there. Sorry.
Yes,
thanks.
I did for you.
Yep. So Keturah, Kendra, Emily, Sean, Drew, Jay, Maya, and Julie.
We had a lot of the same ones, too. That's unusual. We're usually more different than that.
I don't know.
Wow.
It feels like we've been saying that for the last couple of seasons, though.
No.
Anyway, who's your first out? Which tribe you think is going to lose that first challenge?
Okay, I went with, because I haven't decided, there's just not enough commercials showing the challenges, and so I just chose one from, if blue loses, I think it could be Keturah, and sadly, if yellow loses, I think it could be Emily, and if red loses, I think I might go with Julie.
Yeah, definitely can see that. For me, I'm looking at the tribe's relative the tribe members and the tribes relative to each other. I think the first challenge is not going to have a puzzle. I think they're going to do something a little different. They certainly got some blowback in season 44 on
the puzzles,
the repeats of all the old puzzles that people
we don't
knew
know
in
that
practice.
yet. But
don't know it for sure, but so this is just how I came up with an answer. So I'm saying that since there's a big physical element to it, I think the Lululemon tribe there is going to lose, and
you went with Emily too.
They're going to take Emily out, and so she's first out.
Boo.
So final four?
I put, and I'm not sure I'll stay with this, but right now I have Sabaya, Sean, Austin, and D.
Okay, so we got D in common. I've got my final four is Brando from the Blue Tribe, D from the Red Tribe, and then, also Kelly from the Blue Tribe, the nurse, and then Caleb. I think Caleb may find a way. If he gets rid of Sean early enough, he may find a way to schmooze his way into the end. And then I was waffling back and forth on USB, the Ultimate Survivor bonus, who I think is going to win between D and Kelly. And I settled on D, but I could just as easily plug Kelly into that too. But I'm just saying D for now.
I'm leaning toward D too. And I didn't know you were leaning toward D, but I'm leaning toward D. But I also still have Sabaya on there. I'm still toying with that.
Interesting. I think she's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, but I don't know. Part of me I don't know. I'm just kind of going with my instincts or first impressions or something with this, because I don't really have anything to back it up for, concrete. Okay, so is there anything else we want to talk about before we wrap?
Excited for all 90-minute episodes this season.
Yes.
So it is still budget Survivor, but in the snack pack Survivor mode, but we're going to get the XL version of the snack, as is typical in America. So we're going to get a supersized one at 90 minutes.
And it looks like the auction may be back.
Yeah, they keep showing the gavel banging there, so that could be. Hopefully, they figured out something that Probst feels like he's okay with. He got burned out on it because people were just holding back, saving their money, trying to buy the advantage. So one way to handle that is to not have an advantage in there. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they settled on that. So I'm certainly excited for that.
Well, they keep saying in the promo video that they show
twist
during your
after
on
twist,
CD, twist after twist after twist.
We don't necessarily need that.
Okay, we'll have to wait and see what those are.
Yeah.
But at least this group of people before playing knows now that all idols may not be real.
Yeah,
that's going to put another twist into
maybe
the game.
That's what they're talking about. They're going to stick with that. I really wish they would pull back the reins on that part.
Yeah, I don't want to, and I don't want to see them.
Trust is so hard already.
Yeah, I don't want to see them provide things to make fake idols with.
Provide fake idols.
Yeah,
that's like the worst broken trust element there is there.
Yeah, I don't like that, but a lot of people don't.
Well, we're going to have a lot more time. Hopefully we're going to get some more detailed stories. Probst seems to be framing it that way, that we're going to get to go deeper and get more. So it should be like 60, instead of 42 minutes of content, we should end up with about 62 minutes. Of actual Survivor content.
So that should help us get to know them better faster, hopefully.
So, all right. So this has been our swag, our silly, wild guess at how we think they're going to play. Again, it's really all about learning who they are so we can recognize them sooner in the season, not be lost and confused in the early goings.
Well, and I still want to hear what everybody else thinks, before I make my final.
Who do you think your final four is going to be? Who do you think is going to get voted out first? And who's going to be the winner? And we hope that we'll put your theories to the test and come join our Survivor Fantasy League and put your picks out there for that. But the next step in the process is JABBIC Part 2, and so we're looking for your feedback. You can write it up, you can record your own, you can phone it in. JABBIC Part 2 is due noon Saturday, September 23rd. Please keep that, whichever form you choose, in the 3-minute range. The voicemail number is 206-350 1547, toll free 844-643-8737. And we got a note here. Drew will need to receive your song, which is due from the JSFL Side Challenge by noon Saturday as well. And we're looking forward to hearing that. If you want to be in the Season 45 Side Challenge with me, which means you get to sing like Drew if you lose, then send us an email before the first episode airs on the East Coast on September 27th, 2023.
Yes, we must receive the email.
Saying that you want to be in the Side Challenge.
Be in the Side Challenge.
And that email again for feedback and for letting us know if you want to play in the Side Challenge is joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com.
And for any official information, if you have a problem, you're going to get a much better response if you send information to our email and not post it just on the Facebook fans page, because I may or may not see it there. But if you have an issue, then please send us an email directly. Okay, and again, thank you, Paul, for the roster.
We've had it
awesome.
Up on the screen the whole time while we were doing this.
Absolutely, I cannot stay straight without it right now. So, and for doing the logo for the Season 45 on the JSFL
and the
website.
Pictures, yeah,
and the pictures.
Get the castaway pictures on there.
Paul is doing a lot.
Cranked it up.
So everybody, send some love to Paul. All right, awesome job as always, and Stacy will include a link to that.
In the show notes, yeah.
We also want to give a big thanks to Steve for creating and maintaining the JSFL website, and it is now ready for those who want to register for Season 45.
And put your picks in.
Yep. If you were playing at the end of last season, then you can still log in as usual. If you've lost your login information, we don't keep a record of that kind of stuff. You can just re-register and start a new one. Yep. And the other one will eventually disappear after 3 or 4 weeks of not making picks. So, okay, and also thanks to Jeremiah for maintaining the Survivor Fans, Podcast Fans page on Facebook. Good job, Jeremiah.
Yeah, thanks,
It is
Jeremiah.
a mouthful.
We appreciate that. There's a great community over there on Facebook for the podcast of fellow fans and podcast listeners.
Absolutely.
We'll be back next Saturday, September 23rd, with JABBIC Part 2. And we can't wait to hear from you and get your take on this cast.
Absolutely. I need it to because a lot of times I don't see things, and then other people will say something, and I think, oh, yeah, I can see that.
The beauty of our community here, the diversity and getting different takes, different looks.
Yes, it is, because we're all different, too.
All helps enrich our enjoyment of the show. Anything else you want to add?
Here we go.
Have a good one.